Up next, we have the Stadium Stampede, which pits the members of the Inner Circle versus the members of the Pinnacle. MJF and Chris Jericho, their feud has expanded out after Blood and Guts, where the Pinnacle won, injuring Jericho, and the Inner Circle. Starting over on there, I messed that up. Goddamn, stretch him. Yeah. Sorry about that. Let's start that one again. Up next, we have Stadium Stampede, which pits the members of the Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle after the Pinnacle won at Blood and Guts, injuring Chris Jericho, and the Inner Circle are looking to even the score here at Double or Nothing. We saw what happened last year at Stadium Stampede. It was a fighting all over the arena, all through Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium. We saw transformations. We saw bar fights. We even saw Jags mascot Jackson DeVille get involved in the action, which was my favorite spot in wrestling history. There's literally no telling what could happen. This is like, cinematic comedy match, but it's going to work because of the people involved. We do know there's a big stipulation, however, in this match, and that is if the Inner Circle loses Trevor, they will be forced to break up. What do we think about the stipulation? What do we think about this Stadium Stampede?
So, again, I mentioned earlier that I loved the Stadium Stampede match because it was absolutely fucking ridiculous. And it was fun. It was interesting, it was bloody, and it was absolutely ridiculous. I think you have first off, we have two of the biggest goofballs in wrestling with MJF and Jericho, and I think they proved it with their little dancing scene while they're eating steak, which is still one of my favorite things that's happened in wrestling in a while.
That genuinely might win AEW an Emmy. I'm no cap there. I think that actually put them up for an Emmy award.
Dude, that was one of my favorite things that's happened in wrestling in a long time. And for a long time, I don't know if I've voiced this, but I couldn't stand MJF for a very long time. But he's a lovable asshole now, or my jerk off best friend. But I think honestly, this match fits both teams very well. I think it's gonna be a very interesting match. I think there's a possibility that the Inner Circle could lose. But I don't know what that will actually do. What's the purpose of that? You know what I mean? I don't really see the purpose of that.
Right. See, for me, I think that this stipulation does add stakes to it, which, again, love AEW for putting stakes in every match on the card, right? For me, though, I think this is probably match 2 of a 3-part, series between these teams. I think it was good you had the heels in the Pinnacle win the serious match at Blood and Guts. I think that was the right move because you put them over very strongly. You showed they were willing to do whatever was necessary in order to win that match. And, it came off very serious. And then here, you got more of a comedy match. You got more of a lighthearted, but still a fight, right?
Right.
I think this is the perfect match for the Inner Circle to beat the Pinnacle, but not take away from, the seriousness of the Pinnacle and not really hurt them. I think this is the perfect match for them to do that. And then, leading into whatever they do, hopefully at All Out or, whenever they decide to have a rubber match, because I think that would also set up a great rubber match. So that's where I see this going. And as far as the Inner Circle breaking up, I do think eventually they have to. They have to, because you're seeing Sammy Guevara starting to come into his own. You're seeing Santana and Ortiz, who already had a lot of potential and talent to begin with, really also coming into their own. I think I want to see them in the tag team division. Jake Hager. Maybe you put Jake Hager and Chris Jericho together as Jericho as Hager's manager, going around and doing something there, and you have Jericho on commentary. He doesn't have to be wrestling all the time, right? So there's a host of things you could do by breaking up the Pinnacle or breaking up the Inner Circle. I just don't think it's here. It is not at this moment.
At this moment, I don't think it makes sense. I don't think it makes sense. Because it depends on what they're going to do with the tag team, which we're going to talk about later anyway. But depends on what you're doing with the tag team. And because like Santana Ortiz have vocally spoken out that they're one of those guys that don't really need the title. You know what I mean? Like they're that good that they don't really need the title, but it'd be fun to see them with it.
Yeah.
Like in Sammy Guevara is another one that doesn't necessarily need a title, but I think it would help his career tremendously. Like
Yeah.
I would love to see him with the TNT title around his waist, and eventually AEW title.
I think also like the big thing that plays into this is, okay, I think you and I are pretty much in agreement that Inner Circle is likely to win this match, right?
Right.
The other thing that plays into this, going into a rubber match maybe, what else does the Inner Circle have to do? Like what do they have left to accomplish? They've run a rough shot through as the top heels. They've become the top faces of the company, and now there's this other big faction, the Pinnacle, that's looking to take over. A very four horsemen like faction looking to take over that spot. And I do think we have kind of reached we're the beginning of the end of the Pinnacle, or sorry, the Inner Circle, as far as what they can do, because there's not much left for them to do in their current state. So I do think the Inner Circle will break up eventually. I just don't think it's this Sunday at Double or Nothing.
I think they'll break up eventually too. I mean, it could happen this Sunday.
Eventually soon. Eventually, like
yeah,
soon.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
But I don't think it's gonna. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they did it this Sunday, but I don't necessarily think it's gonna happen this Sunday. And again, one of the only things they've never done is the whole team has not held gold. Only Jericho's held gold, and I think that's the only thing that they could possibly do.
Yeah, that is a thing they could do, but I think the time for that has kind of come and gone, hasn't it? Yeah, because Jericho lost the belt. Like we're seeing the picture here. That's from before 2020. That's from 2020, before the pandemic. So like there was a time to do that. I think the time for that has come and gone, unfortunately, and that's okay, because we didn't see when the Shield, one of the greatest teams in history. We didn't see all of them hold, the world title and the tag team titles. With Evolution we saw exactly that. But you know what I'm saying? I don't think they need to. I don't think they need to. I think this is a good way to start the beginning of the end and build up the Pinnacle, because that's the whole goal of this. You build up the Pinnacle to become the next big thing, so to speak, on Dynamite. And I think that's a great way to do it. And again, this match I think is perfect for the Inner Circle to win, because they can win, they can do a lot of fun comedy stuff, and it doesn't really hurt the Pinnacle. Thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.